I want to tell you a story. It starts when I was in 4th grade. My principal at the time, Mr. Tompkins, pulled me out of class to tell me that he was forming a group of students that would meet outside of class to pursue academic projects outside of our traditional curriculum. We called it the project room. In the project room, myself and about 5 other classmates would gather twice a week in a dusty old room in the 3rd floor of Wealthy Elementary. And it was here where we discovered our potential for creativity and hunger for knowledge. How it worked was we were given the freedom to pursue or create any project that we desired. One of my friends started to write a novel. Another experimented with how mold grows in different conditions and on different substances, like bread in a closet or cheese on a windowsill. For some reason, in 4th grade, I was really fascinated with the ancient Aztec civilization. So, I learned how to conduct research online, locate accurate sites and information, and deduce meaning from them. I loved learning about the Aztecs' brutal and radically different society and comparing it to what it was like in the world in 2007. By the end of the year, I had several poster boards and a report that I presented to my fellow Project Room students. To this day, there have not been many projects that I have been as enthusiastic about as that Aztec project, and that was 8 years ago. Sir Ken Robinson, a world-renowned leader in education innovation, gave a TED Talk in 2006 about the necessity for creativity in schools. Today, it is the single most watched TED Talk with over 250 million people across 150 countries having seen it. So, Sir Robinson is TED royalty, to say the least. In his talk called Bring On the Education Revolution, he claimed that education must spark 3 things: our passion, spirit, and energy. 8 years ago in the project room, I experienced what Sir Robinson was describing. Since then, at times, it has been hard to find. In schools today, kids all across the spectrum can lack passion for learning. On one end, there are kids in the honors track who become so overwhelmed with their work that their focus shifts to the easiest way to get a good grade. On the other end are the kids who think they don't belong in school. They find no interest in anything that is being taught and find themselves on the outside looking in when they see their peers excelling in this environment. So, they stop trying. As Sir Robinson says, people are opting out of education because it does not feed their passion, spirit, or energy. So what can we do? My idea is this: create schools to mirror my 4th grade project room. This would involve 2 things: student voice and independence. An example. Last year, some fellow students and I had the opportunity to attend a Bridge to the Future conference where superintendents from all across Michigan gathered to discuss ways to improve our education system. The keynote speaker was a girl named Adora Svitak. She's a lot older than she was right there. Adora, like we said, is a child prodigy, published her first book at age 6, gave a TED Talk at age 13, and travels the world giving speeches on educational reform. In her speech that day, she talked about an educational experiment in Monument Mountain Regional High School of Massachusetts called the Independent Project. The Independent Project is a semester-long program created by 9 students who were tired of their lack of student voice in their own education. What did they do? First step, no teachers. Their program was completely student-run. In the morning, they would focus on traditional classes like math, English, sciences, but in any learning format that they desired and in any subject that they pleased. In the second half of the day, they were free to pursue an independent project of their choice. Now, I know even hinting at this kind of independence makes some of you parents shudder. Most adults in their community were filled with opposition as well. One teacher said it is ridiculous to think that students can be trusted to learn on their own. Well, they were wrong. Kids came up with new lesson plans every week and explored topics that ranged from string theory and black holes to why plant cells differ in elevation. They read books from the likes of William Faulkner and Oscar Wilde, more books in 8 weeks than the AP Literature class did the entire year. The founder, Sam Levin, wrote a book. Peter Boyce directed and shot a short film. Annalena Barrett studied women's trauma and recovery. Yet, the most interesting thing about their success was that these 9 participants ranged from students who got straight A's to those who struggled and were on the verge of dropping out. The autonomy of the independent project provided kids all across the spectrum with the freedom to pursue a style of learning that was specific to their individual interests and abilities. I watched several interviews with students from the independent project, and just from the excitement in their voice, I witnessed a passion for learning and knowledge that was almost contagious. Whether it be the independent project or the project room, my idea is that we need to pay more attention to student voice and trust them with the independence to learn in a way that fits their individual interests and abilities. As a result, I believe we will see a renewed passion for knowledge from the honors track to those who are opting out of the educational system altogether. In closing, I want to share a phrase that Adora quoted in her keynote address, spoken originally by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up the men to gather the wood, divide up the work, and give orders, but instead teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. Thank you.